All right, welcome. Today we're going to break down a really foundational framework for creating positive and effective learning environments. It's called proactive classroom management. So let's just jump right in. Okay, let's dive into this. To really get what proactive management is all about, think about two totally different classroom paths. On one side, you have that reactive classroom. You know the feeling, right? It's like you're constantly putting out fires. It's stressful, it's inconsistent, it's just chaotic. But on the other side, you've got the proactive classroom. This one is structured, it's positive, and it's designed from the ground up to prevent those fires from ever starting. And this really brings us to the core idea, the absolute heart of this whole thing, and it's backed by tons of research. Prevention is always more effective than reaction.
So, what does it actually mean to make this proactive shift? What does it look like in the real world? Let's get a clear definition.
Proactive management. It's all about investing your time and energy up front to build a strong, positive foundation. And the payoff? It's huge. It dramatically cuts down on the time you have to spend on discipline, which frees up so much more time for what actually matters. Learning.
So that leads to the big question, right? If we're going to build this foundation, where do we even start? Well, that brings us to the first of 4 key strategies, which are really like the pillars of a truly proactive classroom. Our first pillar is all about absolute clarity. You can think of it like creating a classroom constitution. Every single student needs to know exactly what's expected of them for the whole community to really work. And we're not talking about a giant list of don'ts here. Actually, research shows the sweet spot is just 3 to 5 core expectations. And the key is that they're all framed in a positive, aspirational way.
Just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got these vague, negative commands, but on the right, you have a shared vision. So instead of just no shouting, you get, we use appropriate inside voices. It's this powerful shift from telling students what not to do to actually defining who we are as a community and what we do here.
So here's the crucial part. These aren't just rules you go over on the first day of school and then forget about. To really make them stick, they've got to be observable, you should get the students involved in creating them, post them somewhere everyone can see them, and, this is the big one, refer to them constantly. They have to become a living, breathing part of your classroom culture.
Okay, let's move on to our second pillar, which builds right on top of that foundation, consistent routines. This is all about making the day-to-day stuff completely and totally predictable.
Routines are kind of like the secret ingredient for a smooth-running classroom, and here's why they're so powerful. For students, predictability reduces anxiety. It just frees up all this mental space. When they're not worried about the little things like how to turn in a paper or where to put their backpack, they can focus on the big things, like learning.
And here's a really key takeaway. You can't just assume students know these routines. You have to explicitly teach them, just like you teach math or reading. You explain why it's important, you model it perfectly, you have the students practice it, and then you reinforce it over and over and over until it just becomes second nature.
Our third pillar is something that's super powerful but often gets overlooked, the physical environment itself. The way you arrange your classroom is a management tool, and it has a huge impact on student behavior and learning.
Every single decision, where you put the desks, how you organize materials, where the major traffic lanes are, it all has to be intentional. The goal is to maximize your visibility so you can see everyone, minimize distractions as much as possible, and create a really flexible space that actually supports the kind of learning you want to see happen.
And of course, in today's world, a really key consideration is technology. A proactive strategy is to create designated tech-free zones. These are areas for activities that require full, undivided attention, intentionally setting apart a space away from the constant lure of digital devices.
And now for our final pillar, the one that really ties everything together. Once you have your clear expectations, your routines, and a supportive space, you have to actively build a positive culture. And you do that through reinforcement.
Now, this isn't just about handing out stickers or rewards. The real goal, the deep goal of reinforcement, is to acknowledge effort and improvement. When you do that consistently, you help build a student's own internal drive, their intrinsic motivation to succeed. And that's the real prize.
So what does this look like in practice? Well, these systems can take a ton of different forms. You might use a class point system where everybody's working toward a shared goal. Or you could award digital badges for mastering specific skills, like being a good digital citizen. Or honestly, it can be as simple and as powerful as sending a positive note home.
And often, the most powerful reinforcement is super specific and it's public. When a teacher says something just like this, they're not just praising Lila. They are defining and reinforcing a key skill for the entire class. They're showing everyone exactly what success looks like in that moment. It's so effective.
So, to bring it all together, these 4 pillars, clear expectations, consistent routines, a strategic space, and positive reinforcement, they all work together to build this incredibly strong foundation. This is what shifts a classroom from being reactive and chaotic to being proactive and productive. It's not about control, it's about creating a real community.
And that leaves us with one final thought. I know seeing all 4 pillars can feel like a lot, but you don't have to overhaul everything all at once. The real question is what's one small, intentional step you can take tomorrow to strengthen just one of these pillars in your own classroom or your workspace, because that's where the change really begins.